What's up YouTube, Demi here with the next build guide from Incursion League. This is a Impulsa's triple Herald Elementalist. I don't know what you want to call it. It's a pretty cool build. Rainbow Blender. How about with that? We'll go with that. So this is a T11 shaped atoll. Decently rolled map, right? And I am on a 5-link with really budget gear. I used the majority of the gear from my Flame Blast Elementalist, my first League starter character, and I just respec'd into this. But it's pretty fun. Very satisfying build. It is crit, full LE conversion, Blade Vortex. You just kind of run around and blow up packs. It's really fun. Really good at mapping. Pretty good single target. I am on a 5-link, so my single target will be a lot better later on. But it's going solidly. Took it up to T16s. I did a Chimera map, which I will include the full video of at the end of this build guide. If you want to see that clear, stay tuned. It was the Deathless T16 on a 5-link. With, I would guess this character cost me maybe a total of 2 exalts or so. Pretty cheap. I think the only expensive thing was the Impulses itself and the Doriani's Catalyst that I'm wielding my main hand. The rest of my gear is basically all life resist. We are dual curse. We have the Prolift from Elementalist, and we have triple Herald, so that means that things just kind of pop whenever you go near them. And because of Elementalist, I get triple 25% LE pen. So I'm sitting on a global 25 pen, and since I'm dealing all 3 forms of elemental damage, it's kind of good. There's a lot of min-maxing to do with this character. Again, this is a very budget version of it. I'll try to give you advice on how to min-max it as we go through the gear after the map. I just want to showcase how it clears. I'm using shield charge because I have a shield. If you wanted to go dual wield stat sticks, for example, you totally can. But I don't have access to a stat stick yet, so I'm just sticking with this. And I don't even think you need the Impulses, to be honest. I think it's just kind of nice. Most of the time you don't even see the Impulses explosions happening. It's mostly Herald of Ice, Herald of Thunder, Herald of Ash going off. Sometimes you'll see Impulses, but I don't think it's necessary. I think you get away with a random rare chest and a wand or a scepter that you pick up off the ground, or even a dagger or whatever. It doesn't seem to matter much. You're mostly being carried by the fact that you're Elementalist and everything is getting frozen, shocked, and ignited constantly by your Conflux effect. And so it procs your explosions from your heralds all the time. Just by heading into them. It is decently fast as well. If you had a lot more attack speed on jewels and your main hand weapon, you could shield charge a lot faster. If you ended up going for dual wield setup, you could use Whirling Blades or Leap Slam. Depends on your preference and what kind of gear you have access to. I can show you an incursion as well. That's probably good, right? Everyone wants to know how you clear incursions. I need to upgrade this one, so upright. Yeah, you can actually stack your incursion or your Blade Vortex up before you go into the incursion. It maintains your stacks as you go in, so that's just a little tip. Pretty easy clear though. Unless I get a really bad layout, I tend to full clear these with 20+ seconds left. Everything just kind of pops. Which is quite nice. I was missing that with the Flame Blast character. I didn't have any shatter going on. I wasn't crit. I didn't have any fun on death explosions other than Herald of Ash, which looked really good, but didn't make any cool noises, so I wanted to play something else. And that character took me up to T15s, no issues, so I think it did its job as a league starter. It's just time to do something else for a bit. Alright, well there's your clear. Let's go talk about the character, the skill tree and whatnot. We'll start with the ascendancies. I am Elementalist because of the triple Heralds stuff. So you get, where we go first. I would probably recommend you go for Pendulum Destruction first for AoE and LE damage on a rotation. And then you grab Mastermind of Discord. This is the Herald one. So you get 25% pen per Herald. So since I'm using all 3, I get 25% global pen, which is really nice. You get increased effect of Heralds on you, so they're more powerful, and they reserve less mana, so that you can go for Mind Over Matter if you so desire, but I don't have that right now. It just allows you to have a little bit more of a pool, so you can support them by things if you wanted, like increased AoE or damage or something along those lines. Then I go for Shaper of Desolation for the rotating Conflux effect. All of your damage gets to chill, and then shock, and then ignite, and then all 3. It's a really cool rotating buff, I like it a lot. And then Beacon of Ruin allows your shock, freeze, ignite, chills to prolift to nearby enemies, which means they spread, they're kind of contagious. And you get some more ignite damage, more shock power, more chill power. It's very strong overall. So the skill tree is you get a lot of cast speed, you get some life, some spell crit. We are crit, AoE, jewel sockets we'll go over after all the other stuff. I am dual curse because I'm using Warlord's Mark, Assassin's Mark. Warlord's Mark is linked to a cast when damage taken, so it just spews out all the time, and then I have a Herald of Thunder and Herald of Ice are both linked to Assassin's Mark, so they curse on hit. But yeah, lots of life, more life down here. The Templar AoE nodes, some cast speed over here, more life, more LE damage, more spell damage, cast speed, more life, more jewel sockets. I headed down for 1 duration cluster. You could potentially go for 2. If you wanted to drop some of this section, you could head across the Scion life wheel over here to grab more skill effect and then these life nodes, more life recovery from Flasks, and then you wouldn't have to cast it as much. I found that I was able to maintain 10 stacks for the majority of my maps without really any thought, so I didn't go for this one. Then you go over here for more spell crit, more life, more spell crit stuff, spell crit chance, crit multi, whatever. Spell damage, life nodes, some physical damage. Because BV is a physical damage spell, you get a lot of damage from getting physical scaling and crit stuff. And of course more life, more damage, crits, life, and some attack and cast speed. Pretty simple tree, honestly. The jewel sockets, minor jewels are really bad. So I have, this one is life, area spell damage. I guess that's not awful. But if you could get like crit multi stuff, it would be a lot better. There's my BV stack stuff, there you go. This one is cast speed life, basically. The other 2 stats are useless. This one is cast speed life, or sorry, life, attack, and cast speed. Pretty okay. 2 prop jewels, basically. Nothing too crazy there. So perfect jewels for me would probably be like spell crit multi, global crit multi, life, and then attack and cast speed, I think, something like that. Attack and cast speed would give you shield charge speed and cast speed for your BV, which would be really, really good, and then of course life and damage. We have fairly high critical strike chance with full stacks and Assassin's Mark and Power Charge and Diamond Flask and all that. I think I have like 70% crit or something like that. Not too bad. And BV gains damage per stack now, so my average damage per hit is 26k, 23k, and it hits every 0.13 seconds. I don't know what my DPS is. I haven't actually imported this in the path of building, but Chimera was done fairly easily, so I'll let that stand for itself. Let's see. So main links. I'm using impulsas, which you do not need, it just kind of helps. But main links are Blade Vortex, Controlled Destruction, Physical to Lightning, which gives you 50% conversion. Then we're using another 50% conversion from the Hermburn gloves, or Hermsara, whichever, it doesn't really matter. For 100% LE conversion, and then I have added Fire and Efficacy. Efficacy gives us spell damage and skill effect duration, so you don't have to cast as often, which is kind of nice. Random other link, I have a Flame Dash to get up and down ledges. I actually rarely ever use this, so I should probably get rid of that soon. Movement skill, I am using Shield Charge, Faster Attacks, Fortify. Fortify gives you less damage taken from hits, really, really powerful. And then of course Faster Attacks, so you move faster, and Culling Strike for culling bosses. Once this is quality on it, it'll give me another 10% increased attack speed, but I don't have that yet. 1 cast with damage taken setup, this is a very low level one because we wanted to spam out all the time. So it's linked to Cold Snap, which is a chilling effect, that's an AoE effect, right? So it scales off our duration, and it also gives you chance to gain frenzy charges when an enemy dies while in this scale's AoE. So if something hits us for 500 damage, it procs Cold Snap, they're chilled, they're slowed down, they deal less damage since they're slowed. They also give you frenzy charges on kill without having to use Blood Rage, which is really, really nice for mapping. Then I have it also linked to Warlord's Mark. Warlord's Mark gives you Life Leech, Mana Leech, and Endurance charges when you kill those enemies. Pretty nice as well. And again, that's a low level one, so it just spams out. Then I have a higher level one, which is on a different level. So this one you can put it as high as you want, depending on how much life you have. I have it set to trigger at 3.1k life, which is about 50%. It's kind of high. It should probably be around 16, 15 for me, so it's like 1.5k damage. But just base that off how much HP you actually have. Since I have 6.5k, 3k damage is fine. That one's linked to Immortal Call. Because we will be gaining endurance charges from this, I have a higher level Immortal Call so that it gets a longer duration per endurance charge. And that gives us physical immunity for a few seconds, and then I have it linked to Lightning Golem, gives us attack and cast speed for our Blade Vortex, and our shield charge. Other links, we have our Heralds. 1 Herald of Ash by itself, this is just unlinked. You can put it in your ring, you can put it in another slot, wherever, right? Then our other Heralds, we have Herald of Thunder and Herald of Ice. Both are linked to Curse on Hit Assassin's Mark. So this gives us our power charge generation, it gives the mana and life on kill, additional chance to receive crits and extra damage from crits, good overall. Herald of Thunder and Herald of Ice, max level as well. The explosions actually deal quite a bit of damage on Herald of Ice, it's kind of nice. That rhymed. And the bolts from Herald of Thunder tend to one-shot white mobs as well occasionally. And then in our weapon here, we have an Orb of Storms linked to Power Charge on Critical Strike to give us power charges against single targets such as bosses, and then Arcane Surge. The level of Arcane Surge will be dictated by how much mana your Orbital Storms actually costs. So mine costs 37 mana. So I could probably level this up a little bit more, but basically you want it to trigger every single time that you cast it. So I get an Arcane Surge buff every single time that I cast my Orbital Storms to get more spell damage and attack and cast speed, and mana regen. Other jewel, and then I have a random portal gem in this. You don't need this, it's just like preference. I don't like picking up portal scrolls. What else we got? Jewel socket in my belt. I have an Onslaught on kill Abyssal Jewel in my belt socket. It's basically just life Onslaught. Onslaught gives you 20% attack speed, cast speed, and movement speed, so it helps us clear maps faster. Very, very useful. If you could get like crit multi on this, or cast speed, or added damage to spells, whatever, that would be great. But let's get into the gear sockets. So impulses is your chest. This is not required. It's just nice. Let's just start with the required item. You need a Hrim Sorrow or a Hrim Burn. If you want to save yourself 20 chaos, go for Hrim Sorrow. I have noticed no effects from this. Your cold damage can affect, which is ignite, which is the only thing that it gains. But just go for a Hrim Sorrow with good cold res and decent damage to spells and strength. It really doesn't matter. But this gives you 50% conversion, and then the Physical Lightning Gem gives you the other 50%, so we're 100% LE conversion on our Blade Vortex. My belt is just life resist. My boots are life resist, movement speed, pretty simple. Shield, life resist. Gear, helmet, life resist. Noticing a trend here. My ring, life resist. A little bit of mana regen is nice. This ring is also life resist, mana regen. My amulet, I needed a fair amount of dex to be able to equip everything, so I went for a fairly high dex amulet with life on it. Pretty simple. As for the weapon, I'm using a Doriani's Catalyst. This gives us global elemental leech, attack speed, cast speed, global critical strike chance, and a fair amount of increased elemental damage. It's like 100 and something % LE damage, which scales all of our damage, as well as the impulses secondary explosions, which deal 10% of, or 5 to 10% of enemies' maximum life as lightning damage. It's just a huge amount of damage to chunk things with, especially endgame maps. It allows you to one-shot the pack, and then the rare in the middle dies as well. Pretty cool, but you don't really need it. It's just like Herald of Ice will do the same thing. It'll shatter the entire pack for you. If you were going to min-max this character, I would go for Shaper's Stat Sticks, which are like item level 75 or higher shaped maces or scepters. I think I even have one to show you. I do not. So you're going to want one of those with physical damage gained as fire or lightning or whatever else, random elements, extra chaos damage, whatever. And you'll be able to get way, way, way more damage out of your Blade Vortex. You can actually have 2 of those. You could have one in your main hand, one in your offhand, and you could go with Leap Slam for your movement skill instead of Shield Charge. And it would give you like 3 or 4 times the amount of DPS that I currently have. So keep that in mind if you want to spend the currency, but I did Guardians with this and it wasn't a big deal. Flasks, I have a Life Flask, Catalyzed Eternal Flask. Eternal Flask is the healing over time flask. If you want an instant flask, go for a Seething Divine Flask of whatever. Then I have a Stibnite Flask with Curse Immunity, Diamond Flask with Bleed, Basalt Flask with Freeze and Chill. Basalt Flask, make sure you get at least 23% reduced charges used so you can get 2 uses out of it, otherwise it's just 1 use and it's kind of shit. Then a Movement Speed Flask with Movement Speed on it. You could have the Bleed, Poison, Curse, whatever, or wherever you want. Impulsos gives you unaffected by shock, so you don't need a Shock Flask. You can just focus on having a Freeze, a Bleed, and whatever else you want, basically. I would do Freeze, Bleed, and Ignite, or Freeze, Bleed, and Curse for safety's sake. You always need Bleed and Freeze, though. Pantheons, I have the Stun Immunity one. Can't be stunned if I've been stunned in the past 2 seconds. And physical mitigation for each hit I've taken recently. Pretty basic stuff there. I think that's all the stuff I need to talk about, so if you enjoyed the video, leave a like, leave a comment on what you guys are playing in Incursion League right now. I'm having a pretty good time. I've gotten my Atlas up to 123%, gone up to tier 16s, Phoenix and Chimera, working on the rest of it still. But yeah, I don't know, I'm having a good time in this league. I think I'm at 20, I'm at 13 challenges, I'm getting there. Slowly but surely getting there. It's a good build. It's really good for mapping. That's actually not bad already. Really, really good for map clearing, though. But I will leave you here. If you enjoyed the video, I already said that. If you want to check out my Twitch stream, it's linked in the description below the video. If you want to support what I do, my Patreon is also linked below there as well. If you want to get some custom rewards and whatnot, you can. Damn, I wish it was life. But yeah, here's the Chimera kill. I will see you guys in the next video. That'll be Demi out.